So I'm Amit Kumar. I'm the head of marketing and monetization at FreshPlanet. We're a mobile game developer in New York City.
So your official title is head of marketing and live operations,
Yep.
so which suggests that you wear many hats at FreshPlanet. Maybe if you could tell us a little bit about like the main areas that you oversee.
Yeah, sure. So my primary focus and strength originally was in user acquisition and on the growth side, which overseeing our number of different channels we use, which is everything from different programmatic user acquisition to also things like influencer marketing, which we dabble in as well. So overseeing those functions. And I guess at some point we had an opening, or we were looking to bring someone in to take charge of our live operations and monetization teams. And I'd been spending the past 6 months just whining and complaining about our low LTVs and how I couldn't bid high enough to get new users. So I guess they said, all right, well, if you're whining so much, why don't you try to make it better? So that's kind of led to the transition. And so far we've made some progress, still a long way to go, but it's been really interesting. And to me, I think that's kind of more and more where it's headed. Like, you need to have your marketing, your product team, and your monetization live operations all be working in a harmonious fashion with a sort of feedback loop to where they're all influencing each other. And I think it made a lot of sense for us to kind of bring getting these new users and then how do we actually monetize them and be sustainable. Moving those to one place, I think, made a lot of sense for us.
What role has rewarded video played in monetization of your biggest title, of Song Pop 2?
An ever-increasing one. We're an app that's, our suite of games has always been kind of driven by just general interstitials and things like that, in terms of like advertising revenue being a huge chunk of it. But more and more reward videos become part of my interest, because I think it's really interesting how it applies to game design specifically. It's incentivized and it's opted in on the part of the consumer, so of course the view-through rates are going to be through the roof. But I just find because they're purposefully going into this, I think the mindset of the consumer, of the user surrounding the ad is very different from a normal ad. So I think if it's done well and integrated well into the product, into the game in this case, it really doesn't hurt the user experience and only adds to it. And that's where I think from an advertising perspective, rewarded has a very unique place. I think it can actually enhance the user's experience rather than traditional ads detracting from it.
Is ad diversity something that you consider when thinking about user experience?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you get to like Q3, Q4, certain placements and certain brands, certain games especially, will just have these huge budgets and constantly be repeating these creatives. And it's certainly something we see. We get complaints from users, and it affects the user experience. When they're seeing the same ad over and over again, it really lessens their game experience, which isn't what we want. So diversity of different creatives, placing caps on certain, and frequency caps and things like that, it's pretty crucial so that you can maximize your actual number of impressions and showing ads and everything while keeping it fresh and interesting for the user.
What are you most excited about in 2017?
Yeah. Honestly, it's not one thing. It's more of, I think 2017 is going to be somewhat of a breakout year in terms of games, big games. They already know about direct response ads and the value of it. But brands, I think, are making that transition more and more and more. And I think traditionally, it's been television ads that are primarily the spend, and then you have your direct response, perhaps mobile ads that have been used in 2015, 2016 to supplement them. I think we're going to see that start to shift.
Great. Well, thanks for coming in and sharing your thoughts today.
Thank you so much for having me.